Let me paint a picture for you. It's the 1950s. Jack LaLanne is 40 years old. He's on television. And on this particular morning, live on air, he does something that makes cardiologists across America react with visible alarm. He does a workout. Not a gentle, easy workout, a hard workout, a real workout. His heart rate is elevated, his breathing is rapid, he's sweating. He's doing movement after movement after movement without stopping for an extended period. And when the camera cuts, doctors and medical professionals are writing letters to the television station. These letters express concern that isn't mild, it's urgent. One cardiologist writes, "What Mr. LaLanne is demonstrating is cardiac roulette. He is one exertion away from sudden death. The risk he is taking, and worse, the risk he is encouraging others to take, constitutes medical malpractice." This becomes the story of LaLanne's most controversial practice, his daily intense workout. Not just exercise, intense exercise, high-demand exercise. The kind of exercise that, according to 1950s cardiology, would kill you. Let's talk about what the medical establishment believed about the heart and intense exercise in the 1950s. The prevailing theory was straightforward. The heart has a limited number of beats. This was actually believed. The heart will beat a certain number of times in a lifetime, maybe 2 or 3 billion times, and then it stops. That's it. You're done. So the goal should be to minimize heart rate. Keep it low. Conserve those precious beats. Don't waste them on unnecessary exertion. This theory had a name, the rate reserve hypothesis, and it was widely taught. It was in medical textbooks. It was taught to medical students, and it led directly to the recommendation that people with cardiac risk should minimize exertion, minimize stress, and especially avoid intense activity. Jack LaLanne's approach was the exact opposite. He believed that the heart was a muscle. Like any muscle, it got stronger with use, and the more you demanded from it, the stronger it became. He believed that intense exercise would make your heart more resilient, not less, and he organized his daily practice around this belief. His workout routine, documented in various sources and reconstructed from interviews, looked something like this. He would start with a warm-up. Dynamic movement to elevate heart rate gradually, 5 to 10 minutes of increasing intensity. Then the main workout, a combination of resistance training and bodyweight exercises. Push-ups, pull-ups, dips, squats, lunges. He would do these in circuits, moving from one exercise to the next with minimal rest. This keeps heart rate elevated while also building strength. The duration would typically be 20 to 30 minutes of sustained intense activity. Then, depending on the day, either swimming or running. Sometimes both. This would be moderate to high-intensity aerobic work, not casual, real work. His pace would be fast, his intensity would be high. Another 20 to 30 minutes. Then, at the end, he would finish with flexibility work and cool-down movements. The entire routine would take 60 to 90 minutes, and the intensity level throughout would be significantly higher than what most people consider exercise today. During this workout, his heart rate would be elevated. We're talking 130 to 160 beats per minute, sustained, for extended periods. His blood pressure would be elevated. His breathing would be hard. His metabolic rate would be sky-high. He would be sweating profusely. To a 1950s cardiologist, this would look like a heart attack in progress. And this is what doctors warned against. They said, "This is how you die. This is how you have a sudden cardiac event. This intense demand on the heart will trigger arrhythmia. It will trigger a heart attack. Don't do this." But LaLanne did this every single day for 70 years. Now, here's what we understand today that medicine didn't understand in the 1950s. Intense exercise is actually one of the most powerful medicines available, and it works through multiple mechanisms. First, acute response. When you do intense exercise, your cardiovascular system has to respond acutely. Heart rate increases. Stroke volume increases. Blood pressure increases. Breathing becomes rapid. The sympathetic nervous system activates. All of these are stress responses. Your body is being challenged. But here's what happens with consistent, repeated intense exercise. Your body adapts. Your heart becomes more efficient. Over time, the same intensity of exercise causes a lower heart rate response. This is called training effect, or cardiac adaptation. Your heart develops larger chambers, thicker walls, more powerful contractions. Your blood vessels become more elastic. Your capillary density increases. After months and years of consistent, intense exercise, your resting heart rate goes down, even though you're doing more intense work. Your cardiovascular system has adapted by becoming more powerful, not less. There's also a hormonal response to intense exercise that's profound. Intense exercise triggers growth hormone release. It triggers increased testosterone. It triggers increased catecholamines, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. These hormones signal to your body that it's young, vital, and under stress that requires adaptation. Your body responds by building muscle, maintaining bone density, and generally maintaining youthful function. Most people, as they age, have declining growth hormone and testosterone. This is one of the main drivers of aging, but someone who does intense exercise regularly maintains higher levels of these hormones. Not the same levels as a 25-year-old, but higher than a sedentary person of the same age. There's also mitochondrial adaptation. Intense exercise is a powerful stimulus for mitochondrial proliferation. You're demanding a lot of energy from your cells. Your cells respond by building more mitochondria, more of these energy-producing organelles. This increases your aerobic capacity. It increases your ability to produce energy, and it's one of the most potent anti-aging interventions available. There's immune system adaptation as well. Intense exercise, followed by adequate recovery, produces a very robust immune response. Your immune system becomes more vigilant. It becomes more responsive. You get fewer infections. You have better immune surveillance. This is why people who exercise consistently have longer lifespans. And there's also the stress hormone adaptation. Initially, intense exercise elevates cortisol, the stress hormone. But with chronic intense exercise, your body adapts to manage stress better. Your parasympathetic nervous system becomes more powerful. Your HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which controls stress response, becomes more resilient. You become more stress-resistant at a physiological level. All of these adaptations, cardiovascular, hormonal, mitochondrial, immune, neurological, are happening in response to the intense demand that Lalane was placing on his body every single day. And crucially, all of these adaptations are anti-aging. They're the opposite of aging. They maintain youthfulness. They maintain vitality. They maintain functional capacity. Now, let's talk about what actually happened to Lalane's cardiovascular system as a result of these decades of intense exercise. In his 50s, measurements showed that his resting heart rate was around 50 to 55 beats per minute. This is exceptionally low. It indicates an efficient, powerful cardiovascular system. In his 60s, measurements showed his resting heart rate had actually decreased further to around 48-50. This is approaching elite athlete levels. And remember, he's not training less. He's training just as intensely. But his heart has adapted so powerfully that the same training produces a lower heart rate at rest. His maximum heart rate, The highest his heart beats during intense exercise actually increased slightly with age. This is unusual. Most people's maximum heart rate decreases with age, but Lalanne's stayed high, sometimes even increased. This indicates that his cardiovascular system remained powerful, not weakened by age. His VO2 max, as we discussed in video 3, was in the elite athlete range. His stroke volume, the amount of blood his heart pumps with each beat, was exceptional. His cardiac output at rest was lower than average, indicating efficiency. His cardiac output during exercise was higher than average, indicating power. When he died at 96 and his heart was examined, cardiologists found that his coronary arteries were remarkably clean. No significant atherosclerotic disease. His left ventricle was thick and powerful. His valve function was perfect. His electrical system was intact. This was a heart that had been stressed intensely for 70 years and had adapted by becoming stronger, not weaker. The medical prediction was that this intense training would damage his heart, would wear it out, would eventually fail catastrophically. The opposite happened. His heart remained powerful and healthy throughout his life. Now, why did doctors get this so wrong? Why did the medical establishment believe that intense exercise would damage the heart? Part of it was the rate reserve hypothesis, the idea that the heart only has so many beats and they should be conserved. This hypothesis was eventually discredited, but not until the 1970s. And even after it was discredited, it took time for the understanding to change. Part of it was a failure of imagination. Doctors couldn't conceive of a 70-year-old doing intense exercise. The gap between the expected performance of a 70-year-old and the actual performance of Lalanne at 70 was so large that medicine couldn't even process it. It was outside the realm of possibility in their model. Part of it was also the mechanical view of the body that medicine had at the time. The body was a machine. Machines wear out with use. You should minimize use. You should preserve the machine. This framework led directly to recommending rest, avoiding stress, minimizing demands. But the body isn't a machine in that sense. It's an organism. Organisms respond to demand by adapting. They grow stronger, not weaker, when appropriately challenged. By the 1980s, exercise physiology had developed enough that scientists started to understand the mechanisms of cardiac adaptation. Studies showed that intense exercise, far from damaging the heart, was the most powerful way to maintain and improve cardiac function. The medical literature slowly shifted. Exercise became recognized as medicine. But even today, you'll encounter doctors who are cautious about intense exercise for older adults. Some still recommend moderate exercise. Some still suggest that older people shouldn't push too hard. This is residual thinking from the era when medicine thought intense exercise was dangerous. Lalanne's lifetime of intense, consistent work demonstrated that the opposite is true. Moderate exercise maintains function. Intense exercise improves function. And consistency is more important than intensity. You need both, but consistency is key. What made Lalanne's approach remarkable was the combination of intensity and consistency. He wasn't doing intense exercise sporadically. He was doing it every single day. His cardiovascular system never had a chance to decondition. It was always being challenged. So it adapted, not by declining with age, but by maintaining its power. This is a crucial distinction. If you do intense exercise sporadically, it creates stress without adaptation. Your heart works hard, then you rest for weeks, then you work hard again. The adaptation never fully develops. You get the stress without the benefit. But if you do intense exercise consistently, with adequate recovery time between sessions, your body adapts. Your heart becomes efficient. Your mitochondria multiply. Your hormones stay youthful. Your muscles stay powerful. The science now confirms this. Consistent intense exercise is one of the most powerful longevity interventions available. It's more powerful than most medications. It extends lifespan. It improves quality of life. It maintains function at advanced ages. And the starting point for this understanding was Jack LaLanne, doing his intense workout every single day, proving by example that doctors were wrong about what the human body could do. In the modern era, we have the term cardiorespiratory fitness. It's a measure of how efficiently your cardiovascular and respiratory systems can deliver oxygen to your muscles during work. And cardiorespiratory fitness is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. People with high cardiorespiratory fitness live longer, even controlling for other factors like diet and genetics. How do you develop high cardiorespiratory fitness? Through intense exercise. Consistent, intense exercise is the primary driver of cardiorespiratory fitness. LaLanne's lifetime of intense exercise developed extraordinary cardiorespiratory fitness. And that cardiorespiratory fitness is likely a major reason he lived to 96 with the functional capacity of someone 30 years younger. The final piece of this is understanding the difference between acute stress and chronic adaptation. When you do intense exercise, you're creating acute stress on your system. Your heart is working hard. Your blood pressure is elevated. Your cortisol is elevated. Your adrenaline is elevated. Acute stress is actually good for you in the right context. It triggers adaptation. But if stress is chronic and unrecovered from, it's harmful. Chronic stress without recovery damages the cardiovascular system, suppresses immune function, and accelerates aging. LaLanne's approach involved intense acute stress followed by recovery. The recovery was built in. He would exercise intensely, then he would have periods of rest. He would sleep well, he would eat well. This recovery allowed his body to adapt positively to the stress rather than being damaged by it. This is crucial for people watching this and thinking about applying these principles. You can't just do intense exercise every single day without adequate recovery and expect positive results. You'll burn out, you'll overtrain, you'll suppress your immune system. But LaLanne structured his life to allow intense exercise with adequate recovery. And the result was that his body adapted by becoming younger, stronger, and more resilient. The warning that doctors issued, that his intense exercise would kill him, was based on a fundamental misunderstanding of human physiology. The opposite is what happened. The intense exercise is what kept him alive. It's what maintained his cardiovascular health. It's what extended his lifespan. And that's the ultimate irony and the ultimate lesson. What medicine feared would be fatal was actually life-extending. What they thought would damage his heart actually made his heart one of the healthiest 96-year-old hearts ever measured. Jack LaLanne's intense daily workout is a testimony to the power of consistent, appropriately demanding exercise. It's a demonstration that the human body, when challenged properly, adapts by becoming more powerful, not less. And it's evidence that one of the most powerful medicines available isn't a pill. It's movement. It's demand. It's stress applied consistently with recovery. It's what doctors feared, but what actually works.